Well, the biggest question with Laffitte is how much did he know, or what was the relation to Murdaugh? And today will show how much of a factor Murdaugh will play into Laffitte's charges. Now, Laffitte claims that his current state of his bond condition is mainly due to the link to Murdaugh, but officials with the Attorney General's office don't agree and say charges brought against Laffitte just 2 weeks ago will show just that. Now, on August 24th, Laffitte was charged with an additional count of fraud against him, which claims he allegedly caused Palmetto State Bank to fund hundreds of thousands of dollars in a line of credit to use to pay off personal loans, which he was not allowed to do. Now, this is on top of those 5 original charges, which say Laffitte allegedly conspired with a, quote, bank customer to defraud personal injury clients of nearly $2 million. Now, that bank customer, it's a familiar name, Alex Murdaugh. Now, prosecutors say he used his executive status to loan money to himself and to Murdaugh out of those clients' accounts for 10 years, something representatives of the victims say they hope will be considered in this hearing.
Laffitte is presumed innocent. We accept that. We know what the facts are. We trust that the state will bring those facts forward. And we wish the federal government. And you know, if he can mount a defense to it, God bless him. We'll see how it shakes out.
Now, prosecutors say Laffitte's deceptions went all the way through last fall of 2021. He allegedly tried to cover some of the stolen funds by writing a $680,000 check to Murdaugh's own law firm out of his bank accounts without permissions.
Alex Murdaugh's defense team says as they download the content of the state's case today, they are evaluating it. In a statement we received, they say they look forward to reviewing the state's materials and allegations immediately so they can, quote, continue to build a defense for our clients so we're ready for trial in less than 6 months. This is the real moment for the defense to discover what they're up against, whether or not there is enough to convict Alex Murdaugh of these double murders. I spoke with South Carolina former Attorney General Charlie Condon.
My expectation on this is that the strength of the state's case will dictate the breadth and the number of expert witnesses that they'll try to engage and use. And also, this is a bit early maybe to discuss this, but whether or not the defendant testifies.
Condon says it will be critical for the defense to decide whether Murdaugh takes a stand. Due to the intense media scrutiny as well as the sensitive nature of the murder evidence, the judge put some of the evidence under a temporary protective order. But according to Condon, that should not hinder either side from evaluating it. However, as the state prosecutor Creighton Waters said in court Monday, this evidence could fetch millions of dollars if it landed in the wrong hands. This protective order will make sure that if the evidence does get out, the responsible parties will be held accountable and could face jail time. Successfully, that Eddie Smith had misrepresented how much money he actually had in the bank to pay his initial bond. Turns out it was $58,000, money prosecutors say Alex Murdaugh helped Smith get from an insurance company after there was a fire at Smith's shop.
By no means in no way trying to hide the money from a fire I had at the shop 3 years ago. I've had to spend all that money just to bond myself out.
Do you have a comment for me today? Tell me what you think of this revocation.
No, obviously we disagree with the judge's ruling, but we'll let, our position was outlined at the hearing, so we'll let that stand.
Smith is also accused of breaking his house arrest 26 times in the 2 weeks after he got out of jail on July 5th. Smith's lawyers said those were legitimate trips for work and to pick up medications, but the judge still revoked his bond. Smith was let off in handcuffs. He's now in the same jail as Alex Murdaugh. But there was a twist to the Murdaugh story today. Another defendant went before the same judge minutes before Smith, 34-year-old Spencer Roberts from Walterboro. Right now, he's only charged with fraud involving PPP loans. But the state said he's also tied up with Murdaugh. They didn't give more details.
But as the Attorney General felt the need to state on the record, there are some allegations that Spencer may have been involved with Alex Murdaugh in Curtis, Eddie Smith.
Do you know that if your client knows Alex Murdaugh or had any relationship with him?
I don't know that they've ever met or spoken, or I would be guessing as to that, but there's been no indication from me that he even knew who this guy was. And that's the first time I've heard that. I certainly didn't expect to hear it for the first time in open court, but that's the road that I suppose we're going down.
After this development in court, the AG's office still refused to release Spencer Roberts' arrest documents. We've been told that Roberts has not been formally indicted yet by the state grand jury. So who is Roberts, and does he know Smith and Murdaugh? That's what we are now waiting to learn more about in the coming days and weeks.